So there I was, lying on my living room floor. The stock market was crashing, the unemployment rate was soaring to 10%, there were mass layoffs, and I was thinking to myself, how in the world am I going to pay off my student loans, let alone support myself? This was back in 2008. The Great Recession was upon us, and I thought the future would be so bright, but instead it was quite bleak. I was sending out my resume, not hearing back. I was told there was hiring freezes, there was no headcount, roles were being closed. I had no idea. What am I going to do? And I thought I had done everything right. But for whatever reason, one day I'm staring at my ceiling and I had this vision of moving to California, driving along the ocean in a white car, and working at Google. I can't tell you where the vision came from. I grew up in the Midwest. I did not know anyone who worked at Google, let alone anyone who worked in tech. I didn't have connections at Google or connections in Silicon Valley. I didn't graduate from an Ivy League school. I didn't have experience at a top consulting firm like McKinsey or Bain. But yet I thought, this is it. This is what I want for my future. Now, did I secure a job at Google overnight? No, I didn't. Fast forward 5 years later, there I was driving along the ocean in a white car. I was working at Google. I was very fortunate. A recruiter actually contacted me on LinkedIn, so it came to me. During this 5 years, I should add, I ended up moving home with my parents for a year during the Great Recession. It was a failure to launch type situation. My parents were thinking, why is our adult daughter now back in her childhood bedroom? She's educated, she's fully capable of working, and I'm thinking, I just cannot believe this is where I am, although I was very grateful. Challenging for all of us. We got through it. We're still talking. So during that time, when I had a lot of time, I thought if I could do anything, what would I do? I remember that day when I had an idea to start my coaching business, I felt so inspired and energized. I was able to actually get off my living room floor and take action. So I started my coaching business during the Great Recession, and I was very lucky then to land at Microsoft, which really helped set the foundation for then joining Google. The reason I wanted to share this story is because there is nothing special about me in particular. Yet I had the courage to have a big vision for my life. And I hope that in me sharing my story, you may consider, what is the vision for your life? Because I often encounter many people that felt lost, where you wake up and you have no clue. You're not engaged in life. You aren't sure which path is the right one for you. You have one door after another closing, and you look at your future and you're thinking, is anything possible? What if you shift and consider what is possible? I wanted to share a book with you in case you don't have a vision for your life because you're thinking, well, I don't know. I feel stuck, don't have opportunities. I don't really know my strengths well. I'm not sure what I'm good at. I recommend reading The Startup of You, written by Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, and Ben Casnocha. And I want to share a small portion of the book because I think it's really powerful. You were born an entrepreneur. This doesn't mean you were born to start companies. In fact, most people shouldn't start companies. The long odds of success combined with a constant emotional whiplash make starting a business the right path for only some people. Whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or engineer or even a business owner, today you need to also think of yourself as an entrepreneur at the helm of at least one living growing startup venture, your career. The Startup of You is not just appropriate for the techie living in the heart of Silicon Valley. It's for anyone. who has realized that lifetime employment is a thing of the past. Instead, we need to embrace lifetime employability. And by that, I mean, how can we ensure that we are employable? How can we gain new skills? How can we take new trainings, obtain certifications, be creative? I love that Reed and Ben really share best practices from Silicon Valley and working with entrepreneurs that any person can apply to your career. So today I'm going to highlight 3 puzzle pieces that may help you consider the vision for your career and maybe even your broader life. Number 1, what are your aspirations and values? What do you value most? What are your dreams? What are your goals? Second, what are your assets? And we're going to talk about both your soft and hard assets. And then finally, third, what are the market realities? And I want to share an example of someone, they may be living in the Midwest. They have a vision of starting their own auto shop. The reason I want to share this example is because there is always a need for car repair. And so if there is someone out there who may have a passion for starting their own auto repair shop, this could be a really great business idea. So I'm going to walk through the 3 puzzle pieces using the example of the person who really has a dream of combining their passions of being a business owner and working on cars. So we're going to start with, what are the aspirations and values of this person? Independence. They want to be their own boss. Integrity. They want to tell customers the absolute highest priorities of their car repairs instead of telling them everything. The person walks away with $5,000 in credit card charges. This person wants to help others. This person really wants to be a leader, serve their community. Next, we want to look at assets, both from a soft perspective and a hard perspective, as I mentioned earlier. What does this mean? So soft, knowledge, skills, connections, your strengths. We have an individual who has always been fascinated with how cars work. They're tinkering in the garage, they're watching YouTube videos of how to repair cars, or reading magazines. They are just mechanically inclined. They can troubleshoot and fix out the issue of a car. They're like the go-to person in the family. Next, we look at, what are the hard assets this person has? Maybe they have savings. Maybe they have a garage where they could get started. Maybe their family can help lend them money. And then finally, we have market realities. Is there a need in this person's community for another auto repair shop? Likely yes, because there seems to always be quite a long waiting period to get your car in. And then this person should consider, do I want to be a specialist or more of a generalist? And by that, I mean, would I be interested in only working on, say, European cars versus working on every different type of car? And so what I noticed during my road trip through the Midwest, there are a lot of big trucks. And I realized in Silicon Valley, when I lived there for 8 years, I didn't see a lot of big trucks. I'm surrounded by Teslas and Porsches, these fancy cars I would have to look up and to be astounded by the cost. But you think about how someone's auto repair shop could differ based on where they live, and also determining, who are their competitors. Are there a lot of auto repair shops? As I said, there's probably still a need for another one. Once this individual goes through these 3 puzzle pieces and outlines all of the information, they should then embark on an information gathering phase where they're going out there, they're talking to people who work in an auto shop, they own an auto shop, talking to other business owners. Tell me what it was like to start your own business. How much money did you have? How long did it take you for your business to become profitable? What are some of the challenges that you have faced? And I think it's so important for people to really be thoughtful and strategic and compile both qualitative and quantitative data to determine, is my vision what I want? Is this feasible? Because I think in some cases we can have kind of this abstract notion of what it would be like to be in this role or to be an entrepreneur or to be a celebrity. But once we learn more about the actual reality, we may think, I would be miserable. And I know for myself, I originally wanted to go to law school and I did research. Took the LSAT even. I realized I do not want to go to law school. Thought I wanted to be a doctor. I did not enjoy the pre-med classes I was taking. And so finally settled on an MBA. And I loved my MBA program. I'm super passionate about business. And so it's okay if you realize that maybe this isn't the right vision. But you could also find out, like, yes, I am so excited, like this person in the Midwest, I cannot wait to start my auto repair shop. And so this individual may consider, do I want to first gain experience, work for someone, kind of learn what it takes to run a business, and then start out on my own? Or do I just want to go all in and take some risks? When I think about the startup of you, it really helps anyone, as I mentioned, be scrappy, be dynamic, be open to change, be flexible, be innovative, think about your connection. So I want to encourage all of you to consider, what is the vision for your life? And then, as I mentioned, the first step is to embark on that information gathering phase. So I want to hear from you. Share your vision with others. It will be inspiring. If you need some help determining your vision, you need some help with accountability, would also love to hear from you. And finally, I would end in saying that if you have a vision, which everyone should, I think, and it's a big one, know that it's going to be an uphill battle. It really is. Like I mentioned, I had this vision of moving to California, working at Google, and it entailed a very challenging year of unemployment, living with my parents at a certain age, taking a risk, and moving to Seattle, joining Microsoft, moving away from my friends and family and everything I knew. I was very fortunate that it worked out, but it was not all rainbows and unicorns. And I tell people, the period of unemployment during the Great Recession was probably one of the most challenging periods, but it was also a gift because I realized I want to start my own coaching business. So I'm grateful for everything that transpired, but while I was in it, lying on my living room floor, I just thought, there is like nothing ahead of me. On that note, I want to thank you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all the support and look forward to hearing from you. Take care. See you in the next video.